I'm Sam from Cultaholic.com, and this is Graded for Friday Night SmackDown, where I take a look at the show segment by segment and award each little bit a grade from A+ to F. So Crown Jewel was Crown Jewel, it happened. You know, you had Cain Velasquez losing to Brock Lesnar, you had The Fiend winning the Universal title, you had the first ever women's match in Saudi Arabia, and then you had them getting stuck at the airport, didn't you? So with like 140 people grounded many, many thousands of miles away, what the hell were they going to do for Friday Night SmackDown? So without any further ado, I guess we best take a look and find out. Hit the intro. So the show opens with Tom Phillips, Renee Young and Aiden English on commentary, and then we go straight to the ring for a Brock Lesnar promo. So Heyman starts off things by saying that Brock is really pissed off. He shows the match in full from Crown Jewel, Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez. It was only a couple of minutes, but showing it in full was a bit like, okay, he really need to fill out that time, but whatever. He calls it the most orgasmic moment of Brock Lesnar's career. They then roll the footage of Rey attacking Lesnar, and Heyman says that Lesnar wants his revenge, so he asked if Rey could be brought to SmackDown so that Lesnar could, I guess, just murder him, just straight up murder him. But Vince was like, no, we've got 2 networks to worry about now. God, don't be daft. So Heyman announces that Brock Lesnar quits. Brock Lesnar has quit SmackDown. He's off to Raw to fight Rey Mysterio for hitting him with a chair. This is, yeah. Also, when Heyman brought up Vince, he said, if you don't know who he is, Google him, bitches. And that got quite a big pop from the audience. So they leave the arena, and as they're leaving backstage, it's revealed that Triple H and Shawn Michaels are both in the building. I'm going to give this one a B. It was good, but it was quite clear they were trying to make it last as long as they possibly could to fill out the time, and I'm very worried that that's how the rest of the show's going to go tonight. I think Lesnar jumping to Raw is fine. You know, Bray's just brought the Universal title over to SmackDown. I hope. They better not just keep him on Raw. And I wanted to turn that belt blue. Let's make it a Blueberry Jam belt. Hashtag Blueberry Jam belt. And then we go back to the ring for the first match of the night, and that's Bayley with Sasha Banks against Nikki Cross for the WWE SmackDown Women's title. Nikki really took it to Bayley in this one, which I was quite happy about because she seemed to struggle a little bit finding her footing with Mandy last week. Bayley as a character just didn't seem to be quite as prepared as she would have maybe hoped for this one. She seemed to be put on the back foot for quite a lot of it. There's a point when Nikki goes for the purge and Sasha interferes, and this proves to be Nikki's undoing. Bayley hits that weird like knee assist head driving to the floor finish. I don't know if it's got a name yet, but that like finish thing she does, and she picks up the win. So it was a pretty good match. It wasn't A-worthy, I don't think. It might not have even been like, you know, B-worthy, but then Shayna Baszler turns up. Baszler takes care of Sasha and Nikki with ease before getting into the ring, destroying Bayley, like planting her, hitting her with a high running knee, and then she hops the barricade with her belt and pisses off. That's the last you see of Shayna for the night. This one gets an A. If you haven't been watching NXT for a while, or you sort of haven't really been following Shayna, she is one of my favorite wrestlers, full stop. She has come such a long way. I think she's got this aggression and maliciousness that nobody else in the NXT roster can sort of replicate. She's great. And to have her inserted here, and you know, leading up to all the rumors about what was going to be happening at Survivor Series, you know, it's going to be really cool. And of course, this means, as predicted, NXT would be lending a hand tonight. We then go backstage for a Sami Zayn promo. He's like, this is a bit weird. Like, we've seen Shawn, we've seen Hunter, we've seen Shayna. Why is NXT here? Maybe they just need to watch themselves and, you know, mind where they put their noses. And then up behind him pops Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. Sami then starts backpedaling hard, talking about how he's NXT through and through. He was actually wearing his NXT shirt earlier, but, you know, he was eating a salad in his car and he didn't want to spill anything on it, so he's just going to nip outside and go get it. And the guys are like, oh, we'll come help you. And he's like, no, it's fine, don't worry, I'll get my own t-shirt from my car. And then they're like, no. And then they chase him down to the ring and they lay him out. They have a bit of fun with him. It was great. Keith Lee even hits his massive moonsault, and the pop for the boys here was huge, like absolutely huge. I'm sort of starting to worry that this is going to really push to get NXT out of Full Sail given the reaction everybody here is getting. And then we go to Miz TV, and Miz says that The Fiend Bray Wyatt was supposed to be my guest this week, but yeah, he can't be here, obviously due to the travel issues. He must be one of the guys that was stranded. And so he says, he shows a recap package of the match, and then he starts talking about NXT. He's like, we've seen all these NXT people popping up. Like, I'm a big fan of NXT. I love X, I love Y, I love Z, and yeah, I can't wait to see what's next. And then Tommaso Ciampa's music hits. Ciampa runs Miz down because he is the greatest sports entertainer of all time. He says the Miz needs a reality check. The Miz is everything that's wrong with the SmackDown roster, and the Miz is like, all right then, fight me. So we come back off the break and we've got the Miz versus Tommaso Ciampa. This, tonight is pissing mental. This is the best thing ever. This one starts off with Ciampa very much in control. He even avoids a suicide dive attempt from Miz and sort of lays him out at ringside. But once back in there, and after eating a nasty looking knee in the corner, the Miz shoulder blocks Ciampa's dodgy leg. This grinds things to a halt, and the Miz starts just targeting that leg just over and over. Slowly the tide is turning back in his favor. Miz keeps it going by locking in a figure four on Ciampa. Ciampa is so close to tapping before he hulks up, rolls himself over and sort of reverses while getting the rope break. And this puts Ciampa firmly back in the front seat. Miz then heads up top, but when he comes off, he gets caught with a knee and he gets planted with the fairy tale ending. 1, 2, 3. Tommaso Ciampa has beaten the Miz on SmackDown. This one was beautiful, it was unexpected, and it gets an A. It ticked every single box it had to tick. It wasn't something that I knew I wanted until I actually saw it with my own eyes, but now that I've seen it, hook it up to my veins. I never want to not see this match, put it on every show, all the time, and let's have Miz turn up on NXT, please, for a bit of retaliation. That'd be nice. We then go to Daniel Bryan backstage, who bumps into Triple H and Shawn Michaels, who've just been, I guess, standing around, because we saw them at the opening, and now they're just sort of sat on some boxes. Just two cool dudes. Triple H asks Bryan, though, are you one of those stars on the main roster that runs their mouth about NXT and is looking to pick a fight? And then Bryan responds with, well, I'll fight you right now. I've got my gear. Let's go. And Triple H is like, well, I don't have my gear, but, if you want to fight, then I'm pretty sure there's somebody else here. And Shawn starts unzipping his jacket. The crowd's going oh my God. It's just a big swerve. Shawn puts it back on. Triple H calls over Adam Cole, and it's made official. Tonight's main event is going to be... it's going to be Daniel Bryan versus Adam Cole. And not just any match, it's for the NXT Championship. Can we just leave them in Saudi Arabia, please? Just for another 2 or 3 weeks. We've got 6 months till the next show. Just keep them. It's fine. Start a new show out there, then we'll have 4 brands. We then go back to the ring, and Fire and Desire are waiting for their opponents. Carmella's music hits. We go backstage, and there's Carmella and Dana Brooke getting murdered by Bianca Belair. Just beaten down. Bianca Belair just military presses Carmella up and over this set of flight cases taller than her. Great. But so then, they're in the ring just sort of going well, what are we going to do? And then out comes Tegan Nox and Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley's well, looks like you don't have any opponents, so guess we'll do. And then they run down to the ring. Ripley takes it straight to Mandy in the ring as Tegan Nox and Sonya Deville on the outside get into a bit of back and forth. That all culminates with Tegan Nox throwing Sonya Deville over the announce table, and poor Renee gets booted in the face by accident. The back of Sonya's heel just goes straight across her face. It looked a bit oh God. But in the ring, Ripley locks in the inverted shamrock, and Mandy taps. That's it. Easy victory. I'm going to give this one a B. And yeah, it's a squash. Whatever. I usually give squashes C's. But that's Nixon Newell. That's Nixon Newell on SmackDown. That's the best thing ever. And Ripley got a massively dominating performance in. The crowd loved them. Great. It was a bit of a weird squash, but then when you tack on that beat down at the start and, the sort of aggression on the outside of the ring from Tegan Nox, it really sells that NXT are banding together to take everybody else out and prove they're the most dominant brand. It's making it feel important. Survivor Series feels important. And then we go back to the ring for tonight's main event, which is Daniel Bryan versus Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. So first out comes Triple H and Shawn Michaels, who have 2 lovely desk chairs sitting waiting for them at ringside, but but they're followed by Steph. Steph comes out and she introduces some footage, like a little bit of a cut together montage of the Natalya and Lacey Evans match from Saudi Arabia, and sort of bigs up how important it really was for it to have happened. Once we come back from that though, Daniel Bryan's music hits, he hits the ring, and then out comes Adam Cole, and that boom was so loud. So in the early phases of this one, Cole is repeatedly trying to tie Bryan up, but you ain't gonna get away with that against, the greatest technical wrestler in the game. So then he starts to lay the aggression in, but Bryan just overcomes. Bryan's tying him in knots, Bryan's slapping him down, Bryan's planting him, and then he's tying him in knots some more, just really working over all those joints. Whenever Cole gets any momentum, Bryan seems to be able to put him in his place, lock him down, and make him suffer. He seriously just goes for pretty much any body part he physically can, like head, arm, leg, torso, spine. He's just, he's just got a little checklist, just one by one, just breaking Adam Cole into pieces. There is this great suplex attempt before the first break in the match, with Bryan trying desperately to lift Cole up over him, but he keeps stepping back, eventually gets to the ropes. Cole goes up and over the ropes, but Cole holds on to Bryan, pulling him out, so it's like a weird double suplex. Cole seems to be able to hulk back up time and time again, but then momentum just shifts in Bryan's favor. He even takes things to the outside, hitting a suicide dive that causes Shawn and Triple H to have to leave their seats. He hits a running knee off the apron. He seems to just be fully in charge. The only thing Bryan seems to have not taken into account with Cole is his opportunistic nature, and when he goes for a diving headbutt, Cole gets out of the way, and momentum finally shifts in Cole's favor. Cole then attempts a last shot, but he gets caught by Bryan and tied up. Bryan then goes for 2 lapel locks, with Cole managing to wrench his way out of it both times. Cole even eats the yes kicks until he can get Bryan into a position for a Panama Sunrise and a last shot in order to pick up the 3 and retain his NXT heavyweight title. Post-bell, all of the NXT stars in attendance, I think barring Shayna, I didn't see Shayna there, she might have been, I'm sure you'll all correct me in the comments below and on Twitter, they all come down and sort of celebrate, stick together, and Triple H confirms that it's brand warfare. It's Survivor Series, it's going to be Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. Huge NXT chant. Show goes off the air. This main event gets an A+. How could it not? 2 of the best professional wrestlers in the world pushed together through weird fate of a horrible travel situation. Last week, or even yesterday morning, we wouldn't even... How this has happened, but it's been such a good show and it was such a good main event. It was obviously purely lightning in a bottle, right place, right time for everything and everyone involved tonight, but I really hope that come Survivor Series, we're going to see these 2 face off, maybe in elimination, traditional, 5-on-5, I guess on 5 match. And in terms of an overall grade for SmackDown this week, it gets an A. It was a really well executed episode. I mean, even considering that quite a lot of the production staff were stranded on the other side of the world, everything seemed to flow together. It was sort of like a nice bottle episode as well. There wasn't really a lot that happened here that pertained to major stuff. Obviously, we had the Nikki Cross losing the title shot, but everything else just seemed to be it was like a weird big advert for Survivor Series. It was pretty cool, and it got a lot of NXT people in front of a lot of new eyes. And as well, for the first time in years, with this whole big statement at the end of SmackDown, it really does feel like Survivor Series is important. It's possibly for me, last time that it was really important for me was when I was a little kid, when it was WCW versus WWF, and I was chewing my fingernails off, hoping that, the company didn't die. It feels like the stakes here are real. And those little backstage segments of Bianca Belair trashing Carmella and co, it just adds to it. It really helps build the atmosphere. And as I said, if we can just get some main roster stars popping up on NXT, then I'll be a very happy boy. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And no matter what you do, don't ever forget to hit subscribe and join us.